live? Yes, I'm live. All right, thanks everybody for joining the last community call of the year. Already December, guys. It's been a great year. Today we'll be covering the recap of the APAC Symposium, which took place earlier this month. We'll have Evelyn open up the floor as the host of the event from Singapore. And then we'll hand over to Keiko, so one of our Japan collaborators. It was actually her first time joining a APAC Symposium, and she had great experience that she would like to share with the community. And also, in terms of a new collaborator, we have one of our Thailand collaborators, Krit, coming today to share his experience as well around the APAC Symposium. Before I hand over the floor over to Evelyn, small announcement on the APAC Symposium, guys. So for those of you who submitted your poster, presented your poster at the event, an email has been going out to collect your poster so that this can be showcased on the OHDSI website as well. So if you haven't submitted those yet, please submit them before you go for your holidays. Otherwise, you're going to have multiple reminder emails in your inbox when you come back. So please submit so that your work can be showcased not a one time at the symposium, but it can be a continuous showcase on the OHDSI website. All right, that's all from me. I will hand over to Evelyn. Evelyn, you're going to share from your end, correct? Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Solid. Okay. Just really briefly, because boss gave me this task like in 2 days and I have to go back to other stuff. I will give my presentation, but I will probably not be able to stay for the rest of the call. But that is that. So yes, thank you everybody, giving a few updates on OHDSI in Singapore in 2024, as well as APAC on behalf of Prof. Mornan, who is the chair in Singapore. So we've had an eventful year. Huge thanks, obviously, to everybody that you can see here. These are all of our speakers at APAC. You can see Song over there and Mui as well. So thank you, everybody, again, for coming to OHDSI APAC in 2024. Especially to Prof. Mornan and Prof. Adam and Prof. Nyam for organizing this as part of Imagine AI. So a brief overview of our achievements in 2024. The most obvious one and the one that's sort of freshest in everybody's head is we hosted OHDSI APAC in 2024 with over 100 attendees. We also started ETL conversion projects for one of our data sets. I think we're in negotiations for a few more and trying to figure out like what's going on with those. We've completed the execution almost for a network study. We're left with like a few minor edits, but we'll go into details for all of that. And this was done in conjunction with Singapore's regulatory body, the Health Sciences Authority. We also signed an MOU with HL7 to set up Kaya, which is a center for AI-enabled health. So these are a list of our, like an overview of a lot of our achievements this year, but we're going to go into them individually one by one. Okay. First thing is the PASAR ETL project. I think a lot of the people on the call were also involved in this project over the last few months or so. This PASAR is the SingHealth Perioperative and Anesthesia Subject Area Registry, or the PASAR. If anybody knows what the PASAR is, it's sort of a Southeast Asian Malay term for like a wet market. So we think it's amusing. It contains a lot of preoperative, intraoperative, postoperative data. Again, why it's amusing is PASAR refers to a wet market. This is a data mart. Yay. And so the ETL project was to convert about 2% of the data set to the OMOP CDM standards. So it was led again by a lot of individuals from across Southeast Asia and APAC. So once again, huge thanks to the leaders of the ETL project. I'm not sure if everybody's here today, but Stephen, Satish, Tanaka-san, Santan, Lakshmi, Max, all of them contributed, and a bunch of others that I obviously have not specified, but huge thanks to everybody for all of this. This project was completed in November 2024 and is in the process of being passed back to the data owners, the PASAR owners, for the sake of converting the remainder of the 98% of the data set. So thank you everybody for this one. We've learned a lot from this project from all of the leads, really appreciated a lot of their help. PASAR was subsequently included as part of the datathon for Imagine AI as well. So real projects have been used for it. This was a very clear demonstration of how important it was to have a lot of these conversion projects ongoing. And because of the presentation, because of the ETL work, it actually piqued further interest in a lot of attendees at OHDSI APAC in regards to the data conversion. So this was a wonderful project for us to undertake in Singapore. Next is the GLP-1 ALI project, which is a project that I am currently working on. So a little bit of background for people who might be a bit newer. I presented this project on a prior community call before, but just a teeny bit. This was a network study effectively investigating the risk of acute liver injury in users of GLP-1 receptor agonists, which is effectively a drug, in patients with type 2 diabetes. So where we are with this project, well, I won't go into details, but we've executed the R package for the network study across 14 cohorts. We decided to include 9 cohorts that passed the cohort diagnostics. Primarily, they were from US and Japan. And for the current version of the package, which was really just, again, GLP-1 receptor agonists compared to existing DPP-4 inhibitors, we found no evidence of acute liver injury, which was an ongoing worry. And so this was the GLP-1 project. Next couple of things we're going to do in regards to this project is we are hoping to adjust the R package to include secondary exposure and outcomes, additional comparators, and we want to aim to complete this study and submit the manuscript in Q1 for next year. While we're in this community call, as with the last community call, I would also like to reach out to representatives to all of the other APAC communities to see whether or not there would be any interest in contributing data sets to this project, because I think it would be wonderful for us to be able to do this. As you can tell, out of our 9 cohorts, 8 of them were American. And we would love a little bit more Asian data so that we can have a little bit more of an appropriate comparison and generalizability to APAC cohorts, especially to Singapore. At the bottom, you can see a picture of, Dr. Patrick, Dr. Nicole, Dr. Chen, and Dr. Janetsky, Dr. Jack, who were huge help in executing and completing this study. I feel like I was just being carried by the whole lot of them. So thank you so much to them for helping with this project and for working on this project, right? Okay. Another thing that has happened with OHDSI in Singapore is we have been able to leverage on our partners' experience in the US, Europe, as well as globally to set up a certified OHDSI course at NUS. I think it will be under the Health Informatics Division, under the School of Medicine, as well as the Salisbury Hall School of Public Health, which Prof. Morton is primarily under. So the goals or aims, again, of this certified course, which is really important for us nationally, will be to, again, educate more clinicians, researchers, and scientists about OHDSI and OMOP CDM standards, as well as ongoing ETL projects, and the fact that there's an available pool of volunteers, of partners who are able to support with this conversion. And we want to be able to arm academia and clinical as a whole so that Singapore as a nation state is poised to support further conversion projects and studies both on a local level and a regional level. And we do this by ensuring local education is available and encouraged. So this is one of the ways that we want to do it. Huge thanks again to all of our partners for helping us, set up this course, plan a lot of the curriculum, and work with us on a lot of this. So this was very exciting. Another thing that we're working on is we're also working on local adoption on a national level outside of just the course. So we want to support local efforts from various clusters. So there are multiple ETL projects, as mentioned before, that are ongoing right now. We want to introduce these concepts and projects. For instance, a lot of them were available for the tutorials that were conducted at OHDSI APAC this year, and we found that a lot of data owners were available and they were interested in converting a lot of their projects, participating in a lot of that. And we want to do that and then use that converted data to be able to collaborate with international partners for adoption. We also want to be able to make sure that we can, again, continue to do these network studies, for instance, the GLP-1 study, which we plan to do with more data locally from Singapore, more data coming in from Taiwan, Beijing, maybe a couple of other places. So cross fingers, and we hope to see what's going on. Additional more plant studies for PASAR and other data registries as well. So local adoption, very important. Regional adoption, also nice and important. We are collaborating again in more network studies across the region, offering our help with other countries, conducting more of these network studies across APAC, across Southeast Asia. And we want to promote, demonstrate the need, again, for Asian-specific data sets. I know I'm emphasizing the same point over and over again. We really need more Asian data sets. While we had a Korean data set and a Taiwan data set, they unfortunately did not pass diagnostics for this one, and it was a huge shame. A few US data sets did not pass diagnostics either, but because we had a larger number of them, more of them ended up passing through. And so we found it difficult with the network study to generalize again to Singapore or APAC. And so please, if you have available data sets, if you're interested in participating in our network studies, please contact me and let me know. That would be wonderful, and it would be fantastic to be able to work with everybody on this. Okay. Some more things that are ongoing. So there are certain efforts that are ongoing, again, to formalize the OMOP CDM standard, which was popularized by OHDSI. This is led by Dr. Mukesh Kumar, who has been a huge presence in OHDSI Singapore. We've been encouraging national standardization of the data among the standard. And this is important because this is going to be across the different healthcare clusters there are in Singapore. And that means we're going to be able to finally look at our data along the same standards and be able to conduct nationwide studies instead of just, cluster by cluster or hospital by hospital. We want to encourage the real world data collection, generate more evidence that is local in Singapore. Again, and on top of that, this is involving both industry and ministry stakeholders. So if you were there at APAC, OHDSI APAC 2024, one of our panels included somebody from the Ministry of Health Transformation, as well as somebody from industry, and everybody was sort of involved in this adoption for national advancement, because it can't just be that academia is the only one that's promoting this. We need everybody to be involved in this and pushing this forward. So thank you again to Dr. Kumar, Dr. Mukesh, for pushing this effort forward through A-STAR. Of course, hopefully a lot of us who are on this call were able to come to OHDSI APAC in 2024. This was part of Imagine AI in 2024. It was a couple of weeks ago. It was, one day of workshop, 2 days of sharing, a lot of knowledge exchange, a lot of workshops, a lot of ideas getting started, a lot of projects potentially getting started. We had a lot of speakers from OHDSI globally. You can see this giant list. Not only was it just from APAC, we also had a lot of people coming in from the US, UK, we had Australia, Japan, Korea, all of these places, hometown. So it was wonderful being able to meet so many people from so many places and see a lot of the support continuously ongoing for a lot of this as well. So we had Dr. Patrick and a lot of the DA Mark and Martine coming in, from the US, etc. And Dr. Nicole and Dr. Jack coming in from Australia, which was wonderful. So thank you so much for all of the global leaders for coming in for OHDSI APAC as well. A brief on the tutorials. So these were the tutorials that were conducted. This was at the National University of Singapore. You can see Song all the way at the front. Being grumpy every time I took a picture of him. So we had some tutorials on OHDSI OMOP, a little bit of understanding for CDM vocabulary, conversion process, ETL exercises, OHDSI analyses that were again conducted by leaders of OHDSI from APAC as well as from the global region as well. So a lot of our attendees were data owners or who were interested in participating in the ETL conversion process. And we hope that as a result of these tutorials and the growing interest in converting to OMOP CDM, we will be able to onboard more ETL projects, as well as, once those are done, execute more network studies, and then be able to generate more evidence for a lot of our local concerns in regards to regulation and healthcare outcomes. This was the tutorials. And then, of course, we had the main symposium itself. We had a lot of fun. You can see, over 100 attendees across 2 days, a wonderful number of people, so many interesting panels, discussions, and projects ongoing. And on top of that, of course, we had our little dance break by Prof. Martin.
I feel like I should be singing the song right now, but I'm a terrible singer, so I won't do that. He's dancing to Apatu for those of you guys who aren't there. But yeah.
For those who don't know, Prof. Mornin, I think, used to be, still is, a professional hip hop dancer. And so whenever we have little IT breaks, in between, I will just be like, hey, boss, can you do a little bit of a dance break? And he's always super on top of it. And so OHDSI APAC Symposium this year was incredibly fun as a result of that. Thank you, Prof. Morton. He did give me approval to show this, so like it's okay. You don't have to tell him. So this was our little dance break at OHDSI, and we hope that next year at OHDSI APAC we can see a little bit more action from other people as well. Okay. Towards the end of OHDSI APAC, we also found ourselves in a collaboration between HL7. If everybody knows a little bit of what HL7 is, I would assume, but HL7 is an international standard for interoperability in healthcare. So it's basically ensuring that a lot of your health data works across multiple platforms and that is streamlined, which is in our best interest because we want to promote, data standardization. So there was an MOU signed, there was a commitment to work together to promote the adoption of common standards, data methods, and models. And we also set up Kaya, it's pronounced Kaya, which again is a Center for AI-enabled health, where the goal is to transform healthcare through AI standards and collaboration. We want to develop these healthcare standards, ensure interoperability, foster innovation, promote the ethical implementation of AI technologies across the region, through a lot of ethics, governance, and capacity building. So it's new. More information on Kaya will be released in 2025, but this was a wonderful MOU to be signed, and you can see Prof. Adam and Prof. Mornan both there very happily signing their MOUs. Okay, and that is a lot of OHDSI Singapore for 2024. Thank you very much for paying attention to me for like the last 10, 12 minutes-ish. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you are interested in, again, collaborating with us on the ETL projects, on a lot of the or the network study, please do contact me. I will do my best to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. Any questions for Evelyn? I have a question. Do you have a higher resolution of that dance?
I have multiple videos of the dance video, and I can send them to you. They were taken from like multiple angles with different people. I don't have the highest res because obviously I was on the stage sort of like playing the music, but I think other people have better videos. And I'll send all three of the ones I have to you, and then you can like pick and choose.
Yeah, the story song is copyrighted.
Hey.
Oh, it's
It's
copyrighted.
copyrighted.
It's right there.
But we have Morning's approval, and it's also on recording, right? So how does that play from an intellectual copyright perspective? Huh?
Hey, he did, like, Prof. Morning did the performance. He didn't take the video. He didn't own it. So
Correct.
Let me consult our partners from the standards and the copyright entity. Okay, I'll get back to you.
Right.
I have my angle's different than the one that you have.
yeah.
I also have one
I've
myself
looked at
as
it.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was like the most completed one I have. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, for the one that I had, this is the one that like showed up the best. So I was just like, I'll let it be.
Right. Thank you, Morning. Thank you, Evelyn, for
Thank y'all.
setting the floor. Next, I think we'll have Keiko to share her experience from her perspective as a first time attending one of our symposiums. Keiko, over to you. Do you want me to share, or will you be sharing?
Yeah,
Bye.
you could
In
share.
the meantime, I'm gonna take off first. Thank you, everybody, again.
Bye, Evelyn.
Bye.
Right,
Can you hear
sharing
me?
screen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Right. So hi everyone. So my name is Keiko Asao from Kappa Medical KK in Japan, and I attended OHDSI APAC Symposium as the first time, and I was asked to share my reflections on the symposium. So, so this is just a personal reflection, not as a Japanese chapter or anything, but so here, my background is epidemiology and clinical medicine, and I have worked at the pharmaceutical companies as well as a healthcare consulting firm before starting my own business this year. So, and I have been involved in OHDSI Japan for a few years, quite lightly and more consistently this year. I help to coordinate monthly evening conference in the Japanese chapter, as well as more operational issues. So that's my background, and please go to the next slide, please.
Okay.
So I will go through the timelines of the symposium on the days. So on day one, we had a tutorial about the OHDSI APAC. And the topics that are covered here are listed here, like introduction, common data model, CDM, vocabularies, conversion, cohort building, advanced analytics. And I have attended OHDSI tutorials in Japan for a few times, but this is maybe one of the most comprehensive ones. And I felt that I finally got something like a really understanding OMOP after many tutorials. And that is good first. And then OMOP conversion, what I learned is actually OMOP conversion is just a step 0. And we need to, and from with my background, I am rather user side of OMOP converted data. So what I felt is that we need to train ourselves and my colleagues on how to use the converted data, so that more user side training is necessary. And somehow I may be overly confident, but I gained confidence in teaching the basic level tutorials in Japan. So this is my next goal. It became my next goal. Next slide, please. So days 2 and 3 are the main symposium, and we had a lot of presentations from the leadership of the chapters and globals, as well as quite a few showcase presentations, as well as poster presentation. I would like to, in particular, highlight two APAC projects, APAC ETL project and APAC study. And Evelyn already covered most of things, but these are the projects that started before the conference, maybe a few months before the conference. And I was involved as much as I could, but ETL project, I did a little bit of vocabulary mapping, and GLP-1 project, I kind of observed as a first time to see how OHDSI network study starts and then going to be conducted. So for both projects, even though I was involved before the conference, it was really the final step to take for me to understand what they are during the conference. And I'm so grateful to have the opportunity. Also, as Evelyn said, we need more data in Asian Pacific regions. After seeing the APAC study GLP-1, which only one database from Asia passed the feasibility and quality check. So we really need more data to run APAC study or even global study from APAC perspective. In addition, we had evidence network of OHDSI initiative presentation, and also I think that is a good place to start with. And at least in Japanese chapters, I think there are a few initiatives to convert EMR data to be OMOP common data model. But in parallel, there are some commercially available data sets that are used in OMOP or CDM format, and I'd like to kind of try to make a make the database available in the OMOP community in some form. This is my second sort of goal that I established during the symposium, that I will work to make more data available from Japan to OMOP community. So next slide, please. So the last the days 4 and 5, that is maybe, I don't know what's the official relevance between OHDSI and DataSon, but a lot of OHDSI leadership members came to tutor the DataSon. And the DataSon, we are in 15 groups, which competed the analytics and storytelling and so on, the data on their topical choice. And I was a part of team 8 to develop the models for optimal glucose targets in an ICU using the data from PhysioNet. And I learned a lot from the teammate. But also at the end of 2 days, there are many presentations that were thought in terms of data exploration as well as clinical implications. So it was impressive. Next, please. So in summary, so my lessons are that being a part of community activities even before the symposium helps to enhance learning experience during the symposium. And OHDSI community welcomes newcomers, and actually the newcomers today will be the mentors tomorrow. So just we need active participation to learn and then to have more peers. The OHDSI APAC community grows rapidly with passion, and collaboration across and beyond the region will further speed up the better use of data for public health. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Asao-san. This is great experience sharing. I really like your comments that you made, especially the ones about your goals for next year, right? You said you are feeling confident to teach tutorials in Japan. Yes, we will take you up on that offer, number one. And number two, you said you will help your community try to get a OMOP data set available from Japan. And also as a community, we look very forward to Japan's progress in the next few years. I know we also talked about potentially hosting APAC Symposium in Japan in the coming years as well. So great to see that you're interested, and you're also interested in becoming tomorrow's mentor in the community. So welcome, and we look forward to continuously working with all the collaborators from Japan. Any other questions or comments for Asao-san, Keiko in the community? Okay, so that's it for Asao-san. Thank you. Now we have Krit here, who just turned on his camera. Another person that will have a 50% fortune tomorrow, so next year. So great to hear that. Krit, over to you. Are you going to share from your end? I didn't receive your slides, so you'll have to share.
Yes, I still didn't send any slide to you, so I will share.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yep.
Song. So I am like similar to Keiko-san. I'm the first time joining this OHDSI APAC community. So here I want to share my experience. So my background, my name is Krit, by the way. The real name is Krittaphas, but yeah, you can just call me Krit. So I'm physician from Siriraj Hospital in Thailand. For our background, Siriraj Hospital is University Hospital in Bangkok, Thailand, and I am from the center that called the Siriraj Informatic Data Innovation Center, which we have an ETL project on OMOP CDM led by Max since 2020. And here is our office located on like remote side of the hospital here. So right now for our data, we have like 20 plus year of Thai EHR data that have been transformed to the OMOP CDM format. We have around 2.5 million patients there, and all the codes are mapped to the SNOMED, IX-norm, and LOING. So I think we are almost ready to generating new research and collaborating with everyone. So the OPAC, the OHDSI APAC that held in the Singapore is a very good location for us because it is really near, not far away from Thailand. So we sent our team to join this event. I actually just realized that we don't have any picture of us together, like 4 people. So yeah, we have 2 physicians joining this event. We have 1 data engineer, and we also have 1 data analyst joining this event and presenting their posters. So this is the picture that I taken in this event. The left side is on the first day the tutorial. I think this section is very exciting for me because it shows how the OHDSI can be used, how powerful it can be if we already complete the ETL process. And I think it really motivates us to join the network studies that here Dr. Mark is presenting his Legend DM, and it is a very interesting work. And also the panel discussion is also very interesting to see how different perspective from each country show how we can build and develop the OHDSI community. And I think the interesting part of me is that the APAC chapter updates, like when we, they're talking about how the OHDSI project, OHDSI chapter in each country is going, and by listening to this presentation, so I can know that where is our OHDSI status in Thailand is in. So it is really fun and interesting event. So as I said, we also present our poster there. We have poster on work about ETL. We have a poster on vocabulary mapping, and we also have poster on data quality. This is the long name of the poster, and here is the picture of each of us standing with that poster. So like I said, we don't have like picture of us, 4 of us together. So this have to do.
You have one right here. No worries.
Yes. Yeah, and okay, and I also have a lightning talk for me myself, and I'm really excited to be able to give a presentation. It is a really new experience for us because our center haven't been joining any academic conference, especially the international conference. So this is the first time for all of us presenting this poster. So for the Thailand OHDSI, the current state of Thailand, we have like workshop led by Max on last year on September, and we also have OHDSI tutorial that Mui and Song and team from IQVIA have been teaching us about the ETL process in April this year. So and many of us join the ETL project, that the PASA project. Like one of the men here is on the data analyst team. Here's Hamshis on the data on the ETL team. Okay. So I think the next step for us for Thailand, so we want to use our data that I think it is ready to join the network studies. So I will email to Evelyn the next step to asking to her how we can join. And also I want to let you know that there are not only us but other hospitals also have the ETL project ongoing to convert their data to OMOP CDM. And actually there will be a meeting update meeting on this afternoon. So if there are any interesting thing, I will keep you guys all updated. And also the team from Khon University that is not even part of Thailand also joined the event, but sadly I also don't have any picture with all of them. So okay. So these are all my experience from these events. Thank you for organizing this wonderful event. So I'm looking forward to joining you guys in next year and continuing forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Krit, for sharing the experience from your perspective. It's very interesting to see that Thailand is progressing very quickly. The Mahidol University Siraj Hospital already has OMOP. You're telling us that 8 other hospitals are currently ETLing their data as well as we speak. So I don't know if you're the best person to ask this question to, but I think it's a very golden timing for us to potentially set up a Thailand chapter as well, right? Maybe we can get connected with Max to maybe potentially formalize that in 2025. But great to see another potential new country that is almost, I would say, ready, but almost ready to formalize their presence within the OHDSI APAC community. So great job there, Krit. And I also think your lightning talk was very interesting because you actually showed a very model way of doing vocabulary mappings from a efficiency perspective, right? If you do 100% of the mappings, you'll never get it done. So you just chose to choose a certain frequency and do the mapping. So excellent. Great hearing from you. Any other comments or questions for Krit from the community?
No, but I want to thank you all the presenters for the recap of the OHDSI experience, right, at the APAC Symposium. And it's actually wonderful actually to see all the progress in the different countries, right? Japan and Thailand here, and even in Singapore, setting up a course and making it more official where we can continue to do OHDSI work. So it gives us great hope that, you know, next year we can do even more and hopefully have more chapters, and even the existing chapters, right, do a lot more studies in the APAC region. So and of course, special thanks to, you know, Singapore for hosting this year. I think it was a great experience to get a lot of us together around the world. A little hot, but better than the cold that we have now over here. So prefer the hot heat over the cold. So thank you very much for that. So yeah.
Thanks, Mui, for that comment. Before we all let you guys go for your year-end holidays, whenever that starts, we'll have a short sharing from Mui around closing up the 2024 of OHDSI APAC. So I'll start sharing.
They all stole the thunder, so I don't know how we're gonna do this, man. I
Maybe
can't top the last 3 presenters, okay? So, all right, as our normal tradition, right, we want to always start APAC with a bang, and then we want to close APAC with another bang, right? So here I go, trying to surpass the 3 folks who presented, because what they presented was very amazing and very enthusiastic, right? And very hopeful to what our future in APAC looks like. So I'm going to try. All right, if you can go to the next slide, right? Just looking at what our goals were this year at the beginning of the year. We typically have the main 3 themes that we have, right? But we try to, in each theme, figure out what are the activities that we can do to help advance our community. When we first did this, we said, okay, we're going to try to conduct another SOS challenge like we did last year. And we were trying to figure out if we can replicate the ophthalmology study that was done in the US by Cindy Kai at Johns Hopkins, right, from a research perspective. Training, we said we were going to try to host 2 in-person trainings in APAC and tried to train the community through the APAC SOS challenge, right? And then, of course, under communication, we were going to continue hosting our APAC Symposium, distributing the newsletter, and then also having these community call and scientific calls. So given that is what we set up at the beginning of the year, let's look at what we did this year instead, okay? So we didn't do a study, another SOS challenge, but we did initiate the GLP-1, sorry. Okay, study with Singapore, right? And it's with the HSA. So for those who are unfamiliar with the Singapore HSA, they're the Singapore FDA. Okay, and those initial results were showcased at the 2024 Symposium, which Evelyn talked about earlier. To give everybody a little bit more about details about the study, right? It was actually done in less than 2 months. We got the question really late I think in late September, early October. And with the help of a lot of OHDSI leaders, we were able to get the initial results. So great effort from Evelyn and Professor Chan, if he's here, if not, and then Nicole and others from the global side as well. So thank you for that. Okay, so again, trainings, we said we would host 2 trainings. We ended up actually hosting multiple trainings, right? So we did actually a training in Japan, a training in Thailand, a training in Taiwan, right? And then at the OHDSI APAC, we had the tutorials as well, right? And then, of course, we did our first successful ETL project. For those that weren't at the APAC Symposium, when I first introduced this ETL project, I was very honest. I'm like, when we decided to do this, I wasn't too sure how successful we were. Because of the fact that it was remote, all these different people, everybody from different organizations, and some with some experience, some with not. I was thinking, okay, this might be a disaster in the works, but the community came together, and thank you to all the leaders who helped us with this, and it was amazing, right? Community-wise, everybody just talked about the fact that we had the 2024 Symposium, so amazing and great. We're continuing to distribute the quarterly newsletters, and then we're continuing to host these community calls and scientific forums. One thing that we'll be looking at next year is how to improve on those, and we're going to need your help on that, right? We would like to know if these community calls, these scientific forums, these newsletters are really helpful to you guys, and if there's other information that will make it more helpful, right? So you've heard like from some of the countries, and we get those on a biannual basis, twice a year, right? We get the updates from the countries, but is that good enough for folks, or is there other ways that we can collaborate and communicate that people are looking for? So if you can go move to the next slide. Just going into a little deep into some of these, right? Some of our research highlights, some of these pictures you already saw, right? Again, our APAC study, I can't say enough, again, with the professors that you see on the first picture here, Patrick, Nicole, Jack, and Chan, right? They helped Evelyn with this study and helped her really understand what a network study is, and was able to work in a very short amount of time and present that. And not only did we present that, we actually were able to get feedback and thoughts from some of the Singaporean officials, as well as doctors and clinicians and journalists, right? So on the right-hand side here, he's from the HSA. We actually asked them, it's like, what do you think about our evidence? Do you think, what we did was something incredible, or would you be able to trust it? Okay. He did say, he's a skepticism, right? So he's a skeptist, and he likes data, right? So he would love to see more of this, and it's a good start from his perspective to understanding how real-world evidence can really help with regulatory decision-making. Because one of the things that and he reminded us this, right, that regulatory agencies have to look at is the fact that they speak, and the decisions that they make impacts a lot of lives, right? So they have to be very, very, very strict and very, very scrutinizing when it comes to looking at the evidence, right? And that's why they have this trust in traditional RCTs, okay? But again, what we did allowed them to better understand and be able to be open to discussions about how real-world evidence can actually play a role in the regulatory space. So it was great to see the progress. Again, for those that may not know, HSA actually looked at OMOPs, 6 years ago, I think is when I visited them for the first time. And they actually did a rep study. I actually have their picture on my phone still. They tried to replicate a study, but since then they've kind of been on and off. So to bring them back into the Odyssey community and to see that willingness to move forward with Odyssey and real world evidence is actually a great accomplishment for Odyssey APAC, especially Odyssey Singapore. Okay, so if you can move to the next slide. Another thing that we should be proud of is the number of studies that actually and publications that actually the APAC community led and have worked on, right? So last year, I think we had 42, maybe a little less, 41. All right, this year we beat ourselves by 2. Okay, we have 43 thus far. December's not over yet, so thus far, right? With one high impacting paper in the Lancet Psychiatric Journal. And the other thing you have to look at is at the bottom left-hand corner here is actually the number of abstracts that were submitted to the symposiums. In 2022 in Taiwan, we had 13. It was our first in-person symposium, so understandably a little less, right? Last year we had 28. This year we had 42. It took us a lot longer to review these abstracts, and it's amazing, right? It's like every year we're almost doubling the number of abstracts that we have. So a challenge to this community here is next year to see how, would love to see us surpass the number of publications and would love to see us doubling the number of posters at the next symposium. Okay. So a challenge to the Odyssey community and a challenge to Song because he has to coordinate all this. Okay. So thank you, Song, in advance. If you can move to the next one. To talk a bit about our trainings, like I mentioned, we had 3 in-person trainings, right? You can see the one on the upper left is the one in Japan, where we actually had a study. We tried to showcase how to do a study. Now, the other 2 pictures aren't here, but you saw one in the Thailand presentation. We had one in Thailand where we taught about ETL, and then the Taiwan one was more around real-world evidence and real-world data, how Odyssey plays into that arena, right? And you can see the picture on the right-hand side. That's from the ETL tutorial where we taught the APAC class, the ETL class, and then in the afternoon there is a study execution class as well. And of course, I can't go without to say the ETL project. Those are the folks down there that led that presented at the symposium on the ETL project itself. If you can go to the next slide, please. Again, you guys already know this, but I want to say this again, once again, because we are so proud. Odyssey Global itself is also very proud of what the Odyssey APAC community was able to do, right? Our first ETL project with 136 participants, one database to the point where the code now can be sent back to the parser owners and to run it, right? So 3 months being able to do this successfully, creating an ETL from this, right? So if you go to the next slide, I know somebody already said this, but I want to make a big thank you for all the contributors around the globe. And when I say around the globe, I mean around the globe. Like Chi is here. He's from the United States. It's almost 11 o'clock his time, and he helped lead the ETL, the vocabulary group, right? I know he wasn't able to be at the APAC symposium, but I do want to give him the kudos for that, because I know hearing from the doctors and the folks from the vocabulary team, that was not an easy task. What really got us was when the doctor from Japan on the call, in the symposium, he was saying, this first time I did this, I thought I was going to be spending, a few hours, and it ended up being 10 hours, no, 20 hours, no, 40 more plus hours a week to get this done. Right. So that really stuck in my head to say vocabulary does take a long time. Again, not to neglect any of the other teams, but I just want to say a big thank you to all the teams all around, right? Satesh and those guys with only 2 QA people, right? The Max leading the BA team as well as Busong, right? So it's a lot of great work that the team was able to do, and a special thanks to Morning to introduce the parser stakeholders to us, and being able to allow us to do this as a community. If you can move to the next slide, please.
I think Chi unmuted himself. Chi, were you about to say
Chi,
something?
you want to say something?
No, but thank you. Thank you, Mui.
All right. Communication, like I said, we are continuing to do this on a regular basis. We do look for feedback. We would like for you guys to give us feedback. For those who didn't attend the symposium, actually all of the presentations, I believe, are now loaded into the APAC OHDSI website. So it's down here if you want to go see it. There were a lot of great presentations. I really strongly encourage that you guys go look at them, not only from the country-specific ones. There are a lot of interesting ones like the evidence network that the OHDSI community is leading. Hua with the NLP network, that was quite interesting. I know everybody's into AI now, so you should look at what Professor Hua Xu was talking about. HL7 collaboration was amazing as well. And if you haven't learned about the Legend Project, you should go listen to the Legend Project. And all the lightning talks were also part of it too. So amazing symposium, and we hope to continue this into the next page where we will. Come on, highlight next page.
Right.
Come on.
It's you missing.
Oh, not yet.
Slides,
See?
right?
All right. Sorry, I added my own slides. I forgot. So these are pictures of all the events that we did. Some of the pictures around the events we did. We talked about the APAC ones. I don't want to leave out OHDSI India also did their first ever symposium in October. And I heard, even though I wasn't able to be there, it was a great success. You can see the picture on the upper right-hand corner there. So a lot of great events and hoping to do more. If you guys have suggestions for next year, bring them on. Let's talk about them. Again, Sung's not going to like me for saying these things, but let's bring it on. Let's think about what we can do next year. Not just in person, but virtually, right? I heard, many great feedback about the ETL project, and I heard folks really wanting to do something like that again. So let's think about it. How can we, continue the great progress that we've done this year into next year, right? And then the tutorials and all that fun stuff. So of course, we want you to do all this because we want to be able to recognize all of our leaders in APAC, right? So we want upcoming leaders, right? And OHDSI APAC's not competitive in any way, shape, or form. Last year, we had 2 Titan winners, Nicole and Song, right, in APAC. And this year, of course, wonderfully, we have also 3. Okay, we beat ourselves by 1 again, right? We have 3 Titan winners that was announced at the Global Symposium. I know you guys already heard this once in the last community call, but I'm going to say it again because APAC is always proud of our own people and the leaders that are out there, right? Jack and Juhong. They both won the Titan Award for clinical application on their contributions for the SOS challenge that they did, right? And then Max, you just heard from our Thailand representative, the amount of great work that he did in Thailand, and also his contributions to our ETL project. So thank you. Congratulations to these 3 gentlemen on the work well done, right? So all right, so I think with everything that we've said, I'm hoping folks really look forward to the next year and the amount of activities that we will be doing next year, because we would love to showcase a lot of the work that you've done at the symposium next year. Hopefully I'm going to my right slide, so all right, can we go to the next slide? So save the date, please. Okay, next year's OHDSI Symposium will be in China. It's in Shanghai. Currently, the date is set for the 6th and the 7th. So set your dates. Don't say we didn't give you any advance notice, okay? I almost gave you 365 days advance notice here, okay? Unlike some of the other ones, I'm giving you a full year advance notice. Shanghai, this is a beautiful picture of Shanghai when it's not cloudy. It actually looks quite amazing, okay? So we would love to showcase all the work that we will do next year at the symposium in Shanghai. So with that, I want to say thank you. Hopefully, we had a great year, a very enthusiastic year. Lovely to see Malaysia coming online. Lovely to see Thailand coming online. Wonderful to see the promises in Japan. Thank you, Singapore, for the symposiums. And of course, always great support from Taiwan, Korea, Australia. Who did I miss?
Singapore, Japan, India.
Oh, I talked about Japan, and and lovely to see the momentum in India, right, with their first one. So it's great work from all of the different regions. So hoping to see you guys in China next year, if not before that. Okay, so Any
What-
questions? Go ahead.
Sorry, why before that, Mui? Or is there a plan for another event in between?
Like I said, I'm challenging the Odyssey community here, right? We had 3 in-person ones this year. Keiko says she can teach this stuff now, so she can be a teacher here, right? I believe Singapore, we got Mukesh who says he could be a teacher too, right? Our Thailand audience, they're doing ETL now, so maybe one of those guys can be a teacher too, right? So we got lots of teachers. We got Jack, we got Professor Chan, we got Professor Nicole. Morning can probably teach a few of these classes too now. So, right, we got a lot of great collaborators in the community where I believe, you know, we can have more of these events in person. So APAC's a beautiful
Yeah, I
place to
can
go
teach the
to.
dance class.
You can teach the dance class. All right.
Yeah.
We go with that too, right? It's actually good during the class to have some exercises in the middle. It'll wake people up morning. So thank you for offering that. Okay. So
Excellent.
awesome. Does anybody have anything, other comments or remarks that they like to say before we close the year? No, with that, for those who do celebrate the holidays, happy holidays and have a nice new year. Hopefully, this year has been a great success for all of you, and looking forward to what we can do in Asia Pacific next year. Have a safe and happy new year. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Happy holiday. Yeah.